Marcia Feinland. I'm the Peace and Freedom Party candidate for United States Senate, and I'm here today because it's another one of those debates between the twin parties of corporate power, the Democrats and the Republicans. Now the Democrats, I'm in the Peace and Freedom Party, and the Democrats complain and they say we make them lose, but they make themselves lose because they have no answer for people who are being thrown out of their homes. They have no answer for people who are worried about the environment. They have no answer for workers who were murdered in the Gulf of Mexico by British Petroleum. They have no answer for the people who were killed by PG&E in San Bruno. The only way we're going to get any kind of change is to start voting for different candidates who are against the corporations, and to start a real movement to build for social change.
So have you tried to get into a debate with Barbara Boxer and Fiorini?
Well, I haven't been able to get that far. I went to, they had exactly one televised debate in Moraga, and they wouldn't even allow us onto the campus. Here they're at least allowing the demonstrators onto the campus, but we were actually on the outside. But what was interesting was, if you watch the debate on television in real time, not the stuff that was on later, the TV cameras panned the crowd, and the Peace and Freedom Party had a really good demonstration there. We had one side of the street. The Boxer and the Fiorina people were kind of in each other's faces on the other side. They panned the crowd, and they said that the Peace and Freedom Party is here. But I keep saying they didn't say the F word, the F word being Feinland. They would not even mention my name on the television.
So you feel that there's an exclusion and they're trying to marginalize third-party candidates, yourself and others?
Oh, absolutely, they're trying to marginalize them, and they use as their excuse that we're down in the polls. Well, we're down in the polls because they don't give us the time of day. It's kind of a what do you ever call that kind of thing, where it feeds upon itself.
So what are the issues that aren't going to come up here as a result of the fact that third-party candidates and Peace and Freedom has been excluded from the debate?
Well, they're not going to talk about housing. They're not going to talk about the fact that people are being foreclosed from their homes. They're not going to talk about the fact that rents are sky high and there are homeless people on the street. They're not going to talk about taxing wealth. You know, all the candidates are scrambling to the bottom. They say, oh, we're not going to raise taxes, and we're not going to raise taxes, but we're going to find ways to give everybody everything. We're going to find ways to close the loopholes. Well, they don't have any loopholes anymore. The only loopholes are the corporate tax loopholes, because corporations don't pay they don't get raises in their property taxes the way homeowners do when they move, because corporations don't move. They don't sell their property. They don't have an oil severance tax. Every other state that has oil coming out of the ground has an oil severance tax. They won't raise the taxes on the top brackets. Even Pete Wilson, when there was a budget crisis, Republican Pete Wilson raised the taxes on the top brackets. These guys promise not to do that. So naturally, we don't, then they wonder why the schools are falling apart. They wonder why the hospitals are falling apart. They wonder why we can't get public transportation, but they refuse to raise taxes on the wealthy, and they're not going to talk about that.
Are you surprised that the California Democrats voted to support furloughs of state workers and have a two-tier pension plan with Governor Schwarzenegger?
You know, I'm not at all surprised. They're falling over each other, trying to blame public workers for the fact that they don't have money in the budget, when the fact is that public workers are vastly overworked. They've been cutting jobs. They've been laying off people by attrition when they don't actually pink slip them. And, you know, people complain about the pensions. Come on, everybody deserves a decent pension. People should be able to retire and not lose income. They should be able to live the way they lived all their lives when they worked for the state or when they worked for their bosses. There's no reason not to give old people decent pensions.
So you're for expanding pension benefits to all workers, public and private?
Well, absolutely. Now, Social Security, they're talking about how Social Security is in trouble. Actually, Social Security is absolutely fine. The only reason Social Security might be in trouble is because young people aren't getting jobs. It's the young workers who support the older workers, and that's the way the system was meant to be. Now that they're, you know, cutting jobs, they don't have enough, they may not in the future have enough money to support the system. I sure hope we don't have a permanent depression, but if they refuse to invest money in building the kinds of things that we need, we are going to have a permanent depression. The reason we're in a depression is because they're not building anything. anything, so they don't have that base of workers who earn income and buy things.
Now, injured workers at Downey and other toxic dump sites in California have gone to Barbara Boxer to get support, and she hasn't done anything about the fact that injured workers, workers' comp are not getting it. What would your solution be to that?
Well, I think that if we had universal health care and decent health care for everybody, we wouldn't have to worry so much about separate funds for injured workers, for injured veterans, for sick children. Healthcare is not the only issue. Healthcare is a big issue with workers' comp because injured workers are not getting treated. But the real issue is that we have dangerous jobs and we don't have good oversight. I mean, OSHA is a joke, and they keep cutting OSHA and not having enough inspectors for the jobs. These two companies, these Texas oil companies that are sponsoring Prop 23, which would gut the little bit of environmental bill that exists in California. Tesoro is on record for having explosions that kill workers, and these guys are allowed to exist, but working people who come to this country to work are called illegal. Corporations who kill workers have a free pass, and the governor is very proud of the fact that he's cut workers' compensation, but everybody knows that injured workers don't have any future. They're out on the streets, and it's not right. And Barbara Boxer shows her true colors because she's not for working people, she's for the corporation.
What brought you here today?
Oh, well, we're supporting Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown, he's for the working people. Meg Whitman, she hasn't voted in years, and she wants to, buy the election.
And what kind of work do you do?
I'm a firefighter.
Are you in a union?
Yes. City of Alameda.
And what do you think Brown would do if he gets elected as far as public workers? He said that he's for a two-tier pension.
Well, I'm not worried about the pension unless Meg gets in. My pension's secure, but it's the future workers that, are in danger. And Jerry's not, he's not out to cut any deals, and he's not out to give handouts or anything. He's only giving what people have earned.
What do you think about Proposition 13?
What's Proposition 13? Is that
Proposition 13? That limits taxation on corporations?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. What are the conditions that you face as far as a firefighter and public worker in Alameda?
What are what?
The conditions you face. You have cutbacks or what?
Oh yeah, we've cut back stations. We've had cutbacks. We've had laid off workers, and we've cut back stations. We're doing more with less right now.
Is that a danger to the public?
Of course it is. And it's a danger to the firefighters also. And basically, we're just trying to keep a minimum set of manpower in the city of Alameda. And right now, we're in the danger of losing our ambulance service in the city of Alameda, paramedic ambulance service, and that puts the public at risk. And it puts the firefighters at risk because when we lose that ambulance, we also lose firefighters. We'll lose up to 6 firefighters a shift if we lose the ambulance. And so we're fighting to save that also.
Does that threaten the lives of people who have health safety?
Definitely. Yes.
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
Steve.
We've got those folks. And so within the next 4 years, we'll build up a critical mass. And Green Party will be a party that can win.
Now, when you look at Greens nationwide, what are you seeing?
I'm seeing some governor candidates that are in debates. We've got those folks. And so within the next 4 years, we'll build up a critical mass. And Green Party will be a party that can win.
Now, when you look at Greens nationwide, what are you seeing?
I'm seeing some governor candidates that are in debates. That's one of the things I'm seeing. In Massachusetts, Jill Stein, a Green Party candidate, is in the debates, and in New York. So I'm seeing Green Party candidates in the debates and people running. Now, what's wrong with California? We see ourselves as advanced in California, and I think in a lot of ways we are. Why aren't the debates in California open to the Green Party candidate too? We're everywhere in the country. We're all over California, and we're in international too. We're around the world.
tickets for the debates, and Green Party gubernatorial candidate Laura Wells, who was excluded from the debates, went and got in line with 2 tickets donated to us by a citizen, and she was taken out of line and taken away in a police car.
Are you kidding? She was arrested for trying?
So she was arrested for trying to attend the debate?
I don't really know what happened. It's real possible they said leave or else get arrested.
Were they afraid she would disrupt the debate?
She had no plans to disrupt the debates, but they may have feared having the Green candidate in the room.
What does that say about democracy?
Well, not a lot.
My name's Bob Richard. I'm the Marin County Chair of the Peace and Freedom Paty. I'm also losing my voice.
And why are you here today?
I'm here because there's no point in having debates if there's only going to be 2 candidates when there's 6 candidates on the ballot, and when the 2 candidates are so close to each other, and when there's no socialist voice, there's no green voice, there's no libertarian voice, there's no real conservative voice in the debates.
And why is it that we don't have a democratic right to hear all the candidates?
Because the debates are controlled by the people who benefit from that arrangement. They're controlled by supporters of the Republican and Democratic parties who benefit from that duopoly and don't want to hear other voices.
So you're here to protest these debates?
I'm here to demonstrate in favor of opening the debates, having debates that have all candidates.
You think they're afraid of having all candidates?
Well, of course they're afraid.
What were the issues that they would be afraid that would be brought up?
Well, how about single payer? The Democrats sometimes talk about single payer. Are they going to provide it? How about war? This isn't a debate for the U.S. Senate or Congress, but who in the big televised debates is representing the point of view that we need to be out of Afghanistan and completely out of Iraq instead of claiming to be out of Iraq the way we are?
Public workers, they both apparently attacked for 2-tier pension and for public workers.
I agree with this. I'm sorry.
Well, we have consistently defended the pension rights and benefits of public workers, and in fact we would want to extend those to all workers instead of cutting them back for public workers.
Now, there's an effort to get Peace and Freedom and other parties off the ballot. What's behind that?
Well, I think it's exactly the same thing that's behind 2-party debates. It's exactly the same thing that's behind repressive ballot access laws. It's the same thing that's behind the unwillingness to provide public financing of campaigns. These are all mechanisms for narrowing the field to 2 parties, both of whom represent different wings of the same basic interest, different wings of the capitalist class.
And what are the solutions? There's a depression in California, highest unemployment since the Depression. Schools, young people can't afford to go to schools. There's a pretty bad economic situation. What's the solution?
There's lots of work to do. Let's hire people and put them to work doing it. Have you driven down the public streets recently and noticed the potholes? Do we have enough schools? Are our schools in good condition? Do we need to rebuild them? Are our hospitals adequately staffed? I think the answer to all of those questions is no. The work is there. There are workers willing to do it. We need to hire them. We need to put them to work, and I think that in the last resort, even in a capitalist society, that has to be the government's responsibility.
Well, a lot of unions, most unions are supporting Jerry Brown and say that he's the solution. You have to keep Meg Whitman out. You don't buy that argument?
Most union officials are supporting Jerry Brown. I don't know whether the rank and file are very enthusiastic about Jerry Brown or not. I suspect that many, many rank and file working people are not enthusiastic. They may vote for the lesser evil on election day, but I don't think there's any real enthusiasm left for the Democratic Party among working people.
And how can people find out about Peace and Freedom Party?
www.peaceandfreedom.org.